Heck, damn it. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Nightmare Road. That's the show, right? Nightmare Road. I am, of course, one of your hosts, Decon, here with the very fabulous looking,
Hey, SOS, but actually fabulous is haywire.
Oh, why, thank you.
the very
No.
fabulous Haywire.
Where did some
Uh,
fabulous gals?
Looking all dark and mysterious tonight.
yeah, not really. I
Yeah.
don't like I've been dead for 4 years. Oh, and with a very, very special guest, Mr. Byron. That is not the UFC fighter. That is Mr. Byron, guys.
Hey, Byron.
Nice to be here, guys. Nice to be here, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Dude, this is
Yeah,
this is awesome.
we're super stoked to have you on. You have some really interesting. Sorry, just heard a weird noise. Speaking of weird noises and paranormal, you have some really interesting stuff that you wanted to share, and I am stoked to hear about this. So lead the way.
So we're just going to take this back to when this really started. I mean, I've always been interested in the paranormal and the afterlife, but 2006, me and some friends went out drinking, especially getting ready to go into the military, and we went out partying a little too hard. I didn't realize he had started pre-gaming before we got together that evening, but we were in Twin Falls, Idaho. We went off a bridge while during construction on one of the main arterials, and we landed. I mean, there's miles of farm field everywhere. We landed on the canal bridge and delayed construction due to it. I should have died. All three abdominal muscles got ripped in half. I had a 4-inch gash halfway across my stomach, across my chest. Nobody knows why I'm alive. The only thing I can chalk it up to is what I saw when I was standing next to the car. Family members coming to me telling me, hey, it's not your time. I'm glad to meet you, but not your time. And then this dark, shadowy figure comes up to me, says, look, it's not your time. I'm not going to let you cross over. I've seen the tunnel. I'm like, let's do this. Nope. And then I nearly lost then when I was in the back of the ambulance after paramedics showed up and EMS showed up, we ended up in the similar boat. I'm like, I flatlined according to EMS for about 10 seconds, and they're getting ready to paddle me, and all of a sudden I came back on my own. They to this day, and I actually got to meet some of the EMS guys since to shake their hand and tell them thank you for what they did. They're like, we don't know what happened. All of a sudden you were gone and you were back. I know what happened. I got thrust back into my body. But ever since then, I've had an odd relationship with death. It's almost like a friendship. Before family members pass away, things like that, I get not like a premonition, but like I'm sorry sometimes, or hey, guess what? You're gonna get a phone call in 5 minutes. That's another time. That's a long story on its own. But after the accident, I went out with some friends. We were starting into paranormal research. This was 2006. So summer 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. We went out with an old school digital camera and 3 megapixels. I still have the camera actually to this day and some of the photos. I just haven't gotten them all. I'm trying to get them all gathered up. I stayed outside of a graveyard. Then I stepped foot in the graveyard, and each time we took a picture as I got closer and stuff like that. And we got more and more spirit activity until I was in the picture, and it just blew up. Orbs everywhere. So it was beyond just being a couple of specks of dust floating in the air.
Mm-hmm.
When I spoke with other people, trying to figure out why this was going on, we said it to other researchers, who are like, what the heck's this guy's, what has been done to death? It's the only way to explain this. Well, fast forward after I meet my wife and everything, I had my first really big interaction with death post car accident. This was 9.5 years ago now, because it was right before my middle son was born. My father-in-law was actively passing away of cancer. I'm sitting on the love seat. I'm not going to let my 18-month-old son watch his grandfather pass away. Who wants to make their kid watch that? That's not fair to the child. It's traumatic, even though it's something peaceful and natural. Love seat next to me. I swear you can see a little indentation in the seat. And all of a sudden I hear this voice in my ear, very familiar voice in my ear. I can't do my job until you are in there. He refuses to go. Like, but I don't want my kid to watch him pass. It's not fair to my child. I don't care. He refuses to go until he has his whole family there.
No.
I'm like, okay, I guess. So I walk in the room. My father-in-law finally opens his eyes for the last time, looks at us all. You can hear him gasping for air, and then he was gone. he waited till we were all there to say goodbye.
Hmm.
And he gave us 2 minutes, and then he was gone. So
Um,
that was like that was the biggest one. That was like what set this all in motion with me. And ever since then, the family member I might see a cloak, and just the weird things that you would typically chalk up to figment of your imagination. But you see it 2 or 3 times throughout the day.
Is it always family, like immediate family that you know, or is it like someone that you can sense is family, like maybe an ancestor, that you wouldn't have actually met?
Every once in a while is somebody I might bump into. I'm not gonna say I'm a medium, but I bump into people. I used to work retail for 10 years. I bump into somebody and we get to chatting. Something would tell me to talk to them. Come to find out they just lost a family member and they needed some solace or something like that. They just didn't know how to handle it. They needed to hear my story. And I'm like, why do they hear my story? I'm nothing special. I'm just an average guy who happened to get in a car accident with a drunk driver, and he was drunk himself and nearly died. But throughout the years, I've been able to tell this story, and it's helped lots of people realize there is something there on the other side. Because I mean, with like my father, you could feel the procession of people coming in to greet him and welcome him to the other side. You could feel the whole family could feel it. Every once in a while, I'll get like maybe a distant friend that all of a sudden I'm like, I had a friend of mine that his mother passed away of cancer, and something told me the day before she passed away to reach out to him and say, hey, is everything going all right in your life? And he's like, yeah, no, my mom's actively passing of cancer. Why are you? We hadn't talked for years, but we were good friends when we were younger, and it got us talking again
here's a
because
question
it
I
was a
have.
similar story.
So you said that you hear like a voice telling you to talk to somebody, like you got to talk to this person. You know, is that so? Like, can you explain that a little bit more? Like,
I don't know if it's a voice, but it's like that voice in the pit of your stomach that when you're going to do something stupid and you shouldn't do that, that's what the voice is like. But in this case, it's doing something good for somebody else. It's like, I don't know, it's all of a sudden, it's more of a feeling that I need to go talk to this person and I need to say, hey, how are you doing today? And so it's the only way
yeah,
for most people to understand is that small, still voice. I mean, I'm a religious person. I'm originally was Catholic. I'm LDS now, but everybody kind of in most religions has that small, still voice that tells you to maybe go do something or say something. And I mean, it's a feeling I get. Honestly, it's like a gut feeling. I need to go do something.
yeah. When you said that it was like the voice that tells you, or like that feeling, like don't do something stupid. I get like the opposite. I get like two voices. It's like don't do anything stupid, and then the other voice is like don't tell me what to do, and I just do it anyways.
Angel devil, angel devil.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I just think that they're both just drunk. Um, now, yeah, I have it might be a funny story, but maybe it's not a funny story. But I'm gonna tell it anyways. When, so dumb. I'm sorry. So when I was younger, my grandfather was getting ready to pass away. You know, and he was like laying there, and he's doing that. You know, when someone's dying, having a hard time doing that. So we were there for holy shit, maybe 20 to 30 minutes, and he was just doing that. And then I look over at my father, and I was like, "Hey, if you think if I put a pillow over his face, that would go a lot faster?" So then my grandfather starts laughing hysterically, and then he died, just like then he died.
Oh,
Like, I'm like, that's interesting. So then my dad is like, "Well, looks like you saved us an hour." He's like, "All right, well, let's go." So that's it. That's
God.
Uh, here's, a, here's another funny story. My father's such an interesting individual. Here's another funny story. It's not really funny. These stories are horrible. So I had a cousin who was struggling with stomach pain for a really long time. You know, and then one day there was like this massive wall that he was painting for us, and he was up on his ladder, and he was painting it, and then he grabs onto his stomach finally, and then he just falls from the ladder. Boom, and he hits the ground, and he was dead. Turns out he was struggling with appendicitis. No idea. This was in El Salvador. No idea. And then my father runs over and looks at him, and then sees that he's dead. And then he's like looking at us, and then like looks up at the wall, and he's like, "Son of a bitch, we're gonna have to paint that wall."
Everybody reacts differently to family deaths. That's fine. I get it. And I completely understand that. I mean, one of the more I mean, today marks the anniversary of my father's death. We were discussing this previously before we got on the camera here. And yesterday would have been, 6 years yesterday. I worked at a retail location. I was stocking the milk cooler. And I'm like, okay, milk spills happen in these things. These jugs leak. They're stacked 6 high. They're like 6 feet tall. You're going to have things leak, right? I'm like, I just cleaned up that leak. Must have not caught there must be another jug leaking. So I go over. I'm like, that's not that big. I don't need a squeegee. I'll grab some paper towels. I'm walking back to get from the grabbing my paper towels, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna clean this spill up. I want to. My daughter's gonna be born tomorrow. I'm super excited. Next thing I know, that spill turns into like the best way to describe it is penny loafers. Really classic 1920s kind of feeling shoes. Turns into like this smoke and these shoes walking through. I'm like, oh shit, backing up, and I get this big old, great big bear hug, and whispered in my ear, literal whisper in my ear, just like with my father-in-law. All I hear is, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm sorry? What's going on?" And then it clicks in my head, I'm like, "This is death coming to apologize to me. Who the hell is he apologizing for? Am I gonna die tomorrow? Am I gonna die on my way home? What's going on?" There's no context to this. So next morning, seven. So today, 7 o'clock in the 7:30 in the morning, my little girl's born. My mom shows up 2 hours later after at the hospital, right? And so it's like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Brings my two boys to meet their little sister, and I'm in the bathroom. All of a sudden, my mother starts busting out, hysterically crying. I don't know what's going on. I come out, and my mom looks at me. Your dad, just dead face. And my mother is no emotion person for the most part. She bottled up most of the time. She dead face looks me in the eyes and says, "Your dad's dead." I'm like,
Mm.
what? I'm like, what's going on? What do you mean dad's dead? And I'm like, and then it clicks in the back of my head. That was death telling me, I'm sorry. I have to take your father tomorrow. And he lost a battle with depression. I didn't know he was really going through this that bad. Our last conversation was amazing. He told me he was proud of me. He told me, and these are all like clues that you normally would science kind of clue in on that something's crazy is going to happen because that's what people who are battling depression and about to lose it do. They kind of make amends. And I mean, anybody who's facing death is going to make amends. But he was making amends with me. Me and him had a rough go for a few years after I met my wife. He's like, I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. I'm so proud. I'm so thankful what your in-laws have done for you and making you a better person. All these things. I'm like, no, it's great, Dad. I'm glad to see you're seeing this, but you need to tell him to call. Like, I need to apologize to your wife for the way I treated her, things like that. I'm like, yeah, you need to tell her these yourself. And he never did because by the time he was, my mother begged him to come down here and be with us for the birth of his granddaughter. And she never told me that he was researching things on YouTube on how to unalive himself and stuff like that. And that's been going on for 6 months to a year. And it broke my heart that nobody, and then it hurt me to the core. And still to this day, it still hurts a little bit that nobody had the audacity to tell me my father was facing these demons alone, pretty much. And here's the crazy part: my mother has a PhD, master's in psychology, PhD secondary education. She knew all the signs and symptoms. She knew what to do, and it still kills me to this day that she didn't do anything. And the reason they told their excuse for not telling me was, "Oh, we didn't want to put the stress on your wife because you would have taken off to come help him." My wife looks at me. She's like, "I don't have cared. Take a week, go help your family because that's what family does." I got my mom here. I got my brother here. I got my little sister here. You would help me through the pregnancy. For you to take a week off to go figure your stuff out with your dad.
So, Byron, you said all of this started with the car wreck.
Yep.
And I've read that traumatic events like this can trigger your gifts to just come flooding in, right? And you had a head injury, a pretty bad one.
Yeah, I ended up with a mild TBI, frontal lobe TBI, because the seatbelt when we were going forward. This is kind of the part I don't talk about with people because yeah, it's for me open, but seatbelt as I'm going forward in this car, they have those little boosters in them that's supposed to restrain you, keep you in the seat.
Yeah.
Mine failed, and there was a massive recall with the company that did this 2 years statute of limitations after my accident. So if anybody wants to research it, they can go look it up. It was a big deal. It I flew forward 4 or 5 inches, almost a foot, smacked my head on the back of the seat. As this is retracting me back, that's why I got cut open here. And I mean, I still have injuries. I can kind of, you can see here.
Oh yeah.
That's all from denervation, right there. All that's from denervation. I have no nerve control in that side of my body, in those muscles, because under that out area was cut open.
Okay, so I'm sorry to hear that. So you had the TBI, you have all these gifts coming in, and ever since then you have all of these experiences and you hear the voices when people are going to pass. Is the voice that you hear the voice of the person who's going to pass, or just this voice?
Oh, that's a good question.
Disembodied voice. It's a disembodied voice, but it's always the same voice when somebody's going to pass. It's always the same voice. It's the same voice I heard from my shadow. No, I can tell you this because I know where you're going with this. The shadowy figure that I met in 2006 when I got in my car accident. It's the same voice I met then that I keep hearing when people are going to pass or they can't do their job. It's the same voice.
Okay. Ooh. And I don't want to divulge too much information here about your, but the field that you're in now, do you have that voice with people that you work with?
Not so much with people I work with yet, because I've only been doing this for about 2 years. At my last job, I had a couple people where I'm like, hey, something big's coming up. And I have made the conscientious decision when it comes to hearing things that affect maybe my friends or other people around me, I've made the conscientious decision for the most part to either ignore or suppress those things because I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to turn into like Long Island medium of death.
Right.
I don't want to walk up to people. Hey, you're going to lose a family member. Like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I get that. Nobody wants to be the Long Island medium. That accent is annoying.
And the hair.
And the fingernail. Okay, but
go ahead.
I do. Oh no, Decon, really?
I was gonna say something like really dumb. You know how? Okay. Damn. Sorry. You know how they always say like, at least he died doing what he loved. You've heard that expression?
Yeah, a lot.
I wonder if there's a way, like, to communicate with death and like have death come by when you're doing something that you hate. Like, could you imagine, like, you're sitting there with the IRS and then they're like, "You owe us a total," and then you just
boom over. Yeah, take that, IRS.
Yeah, take that. Right on the tombstone. Come get it.
I'm sorry on my cold dead hands.
You distracted me. Cold dead hands.
I'm sorry, damn.
I had a point and it's gone.
I'm sorry.
We got sidebarred.
I will see myself out. This was fun. Oh, sit in for me.
It was a good question too. See, I've had 5 concussions and a TV. No. Damn it! Stop it with that thing.
Don't do dolls, man. I don't do dolls. I got some shit with those, but I don't do those.
Oh,
beautiful! How dare you, Chloe?
No, she's evil being. Okay, here's my thing.
No.
You guys
not with this crowd.
That's borderline racist. What am I doing?
Hey, I'm Asian. I get racist. I get people think about being racist all the time. So.
Yeah, but
okay.
Chloe,
Here's
don't listen to them.
This is what I was. Yes. Now stop it. Okay. So we work with mediums, and they have that ability to know when people are going to pass, and they have very good ways of saying things like, you don't want to call somebody up and say, hey, your mom's going to die tomorrow, because, So, but what they'll they have very good ways of saying things like, you probably should talk to your mom more often. Why don't you give her a call today? They have subtle ways of bending you into where you need to go. And maybe that's something you can consider,
Yeah, no, I'm too blunt for that. I'm one of those people. I'll
Yeah,
tell you
but
that. No.
you got to be really careful with people, I mean, it's,
That's why I don't tell people, because I tried that a couple
Jeez.
times and I'm like, nope, nope. I mean, I have 10 years plus. I have 20 something years of customer service experience because of between doing satellites and other things in my life, and then 10 years of direct retail.
yeah.
And even with my current job where I am a professional vampire, um, and I make people bleed all day, and I have to,
Yeah.
yes, I'm a
Hold up.
vampire. You,
Okay, you got Haywire's attention and
Yeah.
Deacon's.
I mean, seriously, you guys didn't see the video?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I know what you are. Okay.
I am the living dead.
Mm.
Like I'm a
No.
daywalker. Can't you tell?
All right, man. See, this is a serious show where we cover serious
Oh
topics,
my gosh.
and then all of a sudden, I will not. Me and Chloe are out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, I get it that you don't even go there. I get that. But if
You hard because when I get these things, these feelings, these inklings about people, it's really just like you got to tell them right at that moment. And I don't have the tact to be able to, like the mediums do. There's certain mediums that I trust. There's certain mediums I'm like, you're full of crap.
right.
And I can tell pretty much. Like I have friends that practice with tarot cards. I'm like, did you give it yourself? Did you buy the deck, or did somebody give you the deck? I understand some of these rules. Well, I bought the deck, and the deck's not. It's not. Yeah, I bought it at the it doesn't. It has to be gifted to you. It has to be calling to you somebody to give it to you, or it's
Yeah.
not active, and it's not going to be accurate. And so I understand some of these things, but for me with mediums, me and mediums kind of butt heads every once in a while because I'll find one that's pretty legit. They'll look at me like, "You've been touched by death." No shit. What was your first clue? The left side or the brain injury? But they just. I mean, I'm serious. They come up to me like, "You've been touched by death."
Oh,
And they come up to me and tell me that type of shit. It's like, oh my hell, you guys are. I mean, yes,
wish
I've
I
been
was
touched by
drinking.
death. What does Jeff have to tell me? I stay sober. I mean, as of January 1st, I've been 15 years sober. So this is
damn
me
it.
Congrats.
inebriated.
Jeez.
So, but yeah, no, I will have, it's like every once in a while I'll have one come up to me. And the ones that come up to me and approach me like that, I'm like, I know exactly what you want. You want to use my gift to make you seem more viable as a medium. And you want that. I have a person that works with me that's been touched by death. And look at me, look at me. No, I don't want that. I don't. I want to help people. I want to help people be able to understand what's on the other side. I want to help people make better decisions, like not getting in a car with a drunk driver and going off a bridge, things like that. But I don't want to enable somebody else to use my gift to further their career.
Yeah.
I just think that's a tough thing. Like, if I knew that someone was going to die, I would probably break the news in the worst way possible, like not
That's
on
my problem
purpose,
right
but
there.
by accident. I would be like, you know how you've been like really stressing about visiting your cousin last week? You don't have to worry about that, and just walk off. And be like, what the hell? But then they're gonna be like, I'm pretty sure that weird short person over there with a leather jacket, I think he killed my cousin.
In my case, the one or two times I've done that just to complete strangers, I'm like, hey, I don't even know who it's going to be that's going to pass away. I'm like, you might want to give somebody in your family a call. Somebody must be dying here soon. They're like, what? Who the hell are you talking about? Who the hell are you? I'm like, oh no, I just got this message. I'm just delivering it. I don't shoot the messenger, please.
Oh, here's a coupon for the funeral home. Just don't ask any. I gotta go. Okay, I gotta. There's also a special now three. Go, and you just leave. That's how you do
Yeah,
it.
if you can predict death, then you could sell like
Insurance.
cremation 24 hours.
Yeah, I can't predict death.
I
Death. I mean, the most predicting thing I've ever. The most predicting thing I've ever had with death. I mean, the other time that death has come to me was it wasn't like they came to me, but my wife and I had a set of twins in 2011,
Okay,
and
what?
my wife and I had like the really first big time
Okay.
other than my father-in-law with death. 2011, I'm sitting in a delivery room with my wife. We're
Okay.
having twins, and it's a special circumstances. My wife and I are like one of those. We kind of keep out the circumstances out of the deal because you can infer there's a special case here. We're at Primary Children's in Salt Lake, and my wife's like, I got to push. And the nurse is like, no. And I'm standing there. I'm like, what the hell's that feeling? Something's really cold over my shoulder. And all I can feel is like, this is like the first time. There was no words. There was no, I'm sorry. There was just like somebody was resting their hand on my shoulder. And I was like, maybe it was a family member because we know they're going to pass. But it wasn't like the warm embrace of a family member telling you, I'm sorry, I'm here to greet them. It was um, something cold. It was something heavy, and they were standing there like they were giving me like the bro hug.
Oh,
And,
jeez.
and Deacon, the Deacon, you know what I'm talking about, Deacon, where they just kind of stand there like, I got you, bro. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I know. Hey, come
The
here.
three
Hey,
yeah, the
get,
three
get,
pats on the
get,
back, and then
give
yeah.
me the cookies. They're doing I'll drive. Give me the cookies.
Yeah.
And
Oh, they're standing
then,
next to you, like the leaning
hey,
on you drunk friend, the leaning on you drunk friend. Bro, I love
yeah,
you, man.
hey, bro, hey, man.
Well, that's what it kind of felt like. It was
I
awkward
gotta
because
talk to my dad. Dad, I never liked you. And then it's like this whole awkward thing. No, if I ever
no,
felt like a cold embrace, I would immediately think it was Hillary Clinton. I would turn around and be like, hey, we're not okay. All right, let's continue.
but
This
yeah,
is
so
this is
yeah,
serious,
no,
bro.
we're not going to get on Hillary. We're not going to get on Hillary, okay? But yeah, no, all
Okay,
of a
well,
sudden I just
Jeez,
felt this.
on this show, it's
talking
taboo. Sorry.
talking about
Okay.
death.
That's what I said. We're not going
Jeez,
to get on her. But yeah, no, I just like, and then next thing you know, my twins are born, and they were stillborn, and
Oh,
it was like death was trying to comfort me, knowing that he's about to take my children away from me, but he didn't know how it. I'm gonna call death an it. It because it comes to you however you whatever the most comfortable. So it's an angel. They kind of do whatever the hell they want to do. But it was like it was comforting me knowing that I'm heartbroken because I'm about to lose my daughters, but yet at the same time, it was comforting to know that something I knew was there beyond just my family members to greet them.
that's really interesting.
mm,
So,
And then I mean,
do you have a
go ahead.
feeling like it was somebody who's going to take them to wherever they needed to go next?
You could feel in the room like family members kind of coming to greet them.
Oh,
I could
yeah.
feel like the spirit. I mean, I felt that with my car accident. I felt the spirit of my grandmother. I felt the spirit of my grandfather. On my mom's side, I never met them other than in my accident when they were spiritually coming to me to say, "Hey, it's not your time, but it's great to meet you, grandson. This is a dumb reason for you to be here to meet us." But I could feel other family members kind of coming in to escort these
Mhm.
twins to the other side, but this was death is here to collect and ensure everything transitions smoothly.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm like,
Yeah.
and it's like that. It's like that. And so it and I have been had this weird relationship, on and off relationship for years now. And I mean, this is not the first. This will not be the last time in my life. This wasn't the last time in my life, I should say, that death has come to me with children of my own. 2 years ago, I was standing at work once again at the retail place, was a different position. I get this pat on the back, like
dude,
Decon
this
kind
is
of like
rough.
said, just yeah. No,
This
my
is
life's been rough.
jeez.
My life. You might want
It,
some whiskey for this one. Um,
yeah, where
Oh,
is the
God.
moonshine? Jeez. Oof.
this one is really rough, honestly, because this is a child of a previous relationship when I was 19. I became a dad. And he was nonverbal autistic and he suffered from muscular dystrophy syndrome. This was
Oh.
2021, post COVID. Well, during COVID, we're at the height of COVID, but as we have learned a lot about COVID. I'm standing there at work, and also I get this pat on the back, like, "Hey, bro, I got to tell you something right now. I got to tell you, it's like the greatest thing in the world, but it's not." I'm like, I'm like looking around. My boss is looking at me. Who's my best friend? He's like, is something wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. I feel like whatever. So I step behind this wall of coolers we have in the room, and I'm like, standing there, I'm going to collect myself for a second. All of a sudden, same tap on the shoulder. Okay, I'm going to tell you now. I'm like, what's going on? Your phone's going to ring in 5 minutes. It's going to have bad news. That's all I'm going to tell you. What? And I look, I'm like, did you hear that? He's like, no, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, because these coolers are really loud. Everything involving, it seems electricity has to be involved for me to hear shit like that. But, so we're sitting there, and I'm like, I told my boss, I'm like, hey, dude, something just told me 5 minutes my phone's supposed to ring. You mind if I take a call in 5 minutes, I guess? 5 minutes to the dot. Phone rings. It's my son's grandmother. Hey, your son's been life flighted to the Children's Hospital in Boise. What's going on? Oh, he has pneumonia. How do you get pneumonia? He has RSV. Oh.
Oh.
And and they're putting him on a ventilator.
Oh.
As soon as I hang up with her, I get a phone call from my lawyer trying to so we can turn everything around so I can send him to primary children's. By the time I could get everything sorted out and before I could say yes, they had him on a ventilator. And I'm like, and so I asked the doctor, I'm like, okay, let me talk to the doctor. I'm his parent. I still have all those rights to talk to the doctor and all that. I'm like, did you guys learn anything during COVID? I'm going to school at this time for medical to become a surgical tech. And the doctor's like, what do you mean? How many people died of COVID that you put on a ventilator?
Right.
Well, this is what the CDC and the World Health, this is what everybody says to do for RSV pneumonia. It's the same thing as COVID pneumonia. Don't lie to me. It's the same. You gave my son a death sentence.
Oh,
2
geez.
weeks
I wish I
later,
had that conspiracy sound button somewhere because that's fucking
the
ridiculous.
FDA actually did validate my statement to this doctor later on, actually, but still. So the same thing with the CDC. But so there's no conspiracy behind it. They did say that people went on the ventilator. A lot of people didn't come off of it. But they put him on the ventilator. 2 weeks later, they pulled him off the ventilator. About a week and a half later, he got to celebrate his 14th birthday off the ventilator. He was a Christmas Eve baby. Got to open his gifts. I got these amazing videos of him opening his gifts and all these things off the ventilator. Like, yeah, my son's gonna pull through. Christmas, day after Christmas, phone call. He's back on the ventilator. The medicine's not working. We're gonna put him on a feeding tube this time. Like, you're gonna have him on a feeding tube this entire time? And so what is wrong with you people? I finally just kind of broke everything. I'm like, okay, this is done. I'm done. This is dumb. And a few days later, they're like, yeah, we can pull the ventilator out because the meds are working again. And because he had muscular dystrophy syndrome, after pulling the ventilator, his muscles were so weak, he ultimately ended up drowning on his own sputum, his own saliva, because he kind of the door that's supposed to prevent fluid from going into your lungs after things are removed ended up not closing, and so he passed away soon after, about a week after his 14th birthday. He would have been 16 this year. And
So you felt the tap on your at work,
it's like
and then
at work, and then
yeah,
and it's like in
yeah.
5 minutes you're getting a horrific phone call, and that was the forewarning that this is going to be the beginning of the end. But the crazy part about all of my children's deaths is there's been a silver lining to each one. And I know that's really hard for people that may not have experienced it to understand. My twins, because of their specialty, the specialty of them, and what the special, what made them special, they're the most well documented case sharing a heart. If you can infer what they were at that point. They were told, textbooks say they'll live to 16 weeks. They made it to 17 or to 27. Longest living set that they know of to this day. We have MRIs, we have CT scans, we have heart echoes, we have ultrasounds, we have all of these things that Primary Children's is now able to use and teach and learn from to help others that are going through this.
Right.
And so, silver lining. I can't. If I were to sit here and worry about those little details, I would have consumed myself in depression. My son, my autistic son, he was a light to the world. He was on the downward spiral of his muscular dystrophy syndrome. He had 2 more years maybe to live. And watching an autistic kid losing his ability to walk, be able to use the bathroom, do all these things that he has learned to do over the last 16 years, that would have been heartbreaking to watch him slowly go down like cancer and not be able to stop it.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing and a curse all at the same time.
Well, I was gonna. I was just thinking that this is a blessing and a curse. This ability that you
Yeah,
have to be able to communicate with whatever's on the other side that's trying to communicate, or that is communicating with you, to uh, warn you, or um, maybe not warn, but at least say, "Hey, this is
Notify
coming."
or something like that.
Notify you, yeah,
Yeah.
something
yeah, no, and
that.
these things are these all this has been a lot of fun. I guess I shouldn't say fun, but it's been interesting when it does come and when who it comes with and for.
So dark.
I've had friends, I've had friends that are going to pass away. They're really close friends of mine that something's going to happen to them, and I don't know, and I get warned. Hey, I'm sorry that, but there's something going to happen. All I get normally is all I get is an I'm sorry. There's nothing beyond that because death is supposed to be. You can't cheat death. And it's just one of those things. I feel like death is a lonely soul itself wandering the
I
earth.
can.
And then classic, it it's just this lonely. It's a lonely soul. Think about how depressing that job is. But you're going to be the first face these people are going to see when they cross over, and you know
I
that your job is literally just to collect souls. You don't have friends. You have souls for
yeah.
a moment, that fleeting moment until they cross over the bridge.
I don't have
And
friends
so
either.
to have somebody like me be able to communicate with, even in a weird fashion like this, there's got to be some sort of solace for death. And
I
I kind of,
damn. I I don't know, man. Like if I was deaf and that was my job, and you're like the first thing people see, I would wear like an afro or like a rainbow wig or something. I would be like Patch Adams, like you're here, welcome, and then just like do something silly, like
that's,
I'm fine, like welcome.
there's got to be
I'm
people
deaf.
that see that actually.
Oh
There's got
man,
to be people that see that because
that's gonna
death
be
comes
me.
to you. Death for me, to my understanding, it comes to you in the form it's going to be most comfortable with. It doesn't come to you with the sickle and the robes and all dark. It just comes to you as a child. It comes to you as a person. It comes to something that you're going to be comfortable with. And so my request to death was, you need to show up full sickle, bony hand. I want the works. I want the whole theatrics. I'm going to hold death to that.
I don't. I would want death to come like with like a big afro with a pick and be like, hey, you dead bitch, let's go. And it's like, oh man, like,
Well,
Byron.
get on my Cadillac. We're gonna take off. We're gonna the afterlife. Be like,
Not
damn it.
me. Let's see. I want
like James
the
Brown style.
I,
Dynamite.
I want the six black horses with red eyes with an old hearse coming with on wheels. You know, that's what I wanted. Yeah,
I thought you were gonna.
yeah,
You know,
smoke and fire
I
and
thought you were
you.
gonna say. I had kept a six breaths.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, that's
No,
fine,
I'm
dude.
thinking
That's
of
what I
like
want. Oh, like James Brown funeral.
I'm thinking of Sleepy Hollow, the Johnny Depp version or whatever that version was. That's what I'm
I
thinking.
can see it.
I was thinking
Yeah.
Um,
something else. Back with scissors,
well,
trying to give me a beard trim or a haircut. Like, get away from me.
well, my wife has suggested to me. I've even thought about this. I've always wanted a guardian angel on my shoulder, tattooed on my shoulder. And for me, might feel like my guardian angel sometimes is death. And so I have this like weird envisionment of death when it comes to the sickle and everything. I want the Grim Reaper. I want the flowing cloaks. I want that on my shoulder, but I don't want all the black. I don't want all the black. I just want the black outlines, kind of like give you the life and feel. The rusty sickle, I do want that in the bony hands. But I want it to have a watercolor feel to it because I feel like death being your angel is not going to come to you in black. It's going to come to you in white robes because we're supposed to be going to a next pure state. So, and we're crossing the Rainbow Road. And so this is going to sound funny, but I want my Grim Reaper in white robes with splashes of color all over it, like it's reflecting the Rainbow Road with a rusty sickle and bony hands.
Yeah, like as if that minutes ago, like really Cheech and Chong, and then all of a sudden it came after you like when tie dye and all like, hey man, let's go, you're
No,
good, man.
no, I'm thinking more like one of those powder races, like when you go right into the races with a white shirt and they just splash it with powder
Just
and
strap
it
down
dyes
at
your
the
shirt.
face. Yeah, and they hit you in the eyes, and then you're trying to find somebody to sue. You're like, who did that? Um, it's interesting the way that I'm so stupid. The way that you describe death is the way that people in places like Mexico or some areas in South America, Central America, the way that they worship death, La Santa Muerte. With La Santa
Hmm.
Muerte, people see it as with the robes, or sometimes you can see it in white. It's like depending on which history or which region of the country you're actually in. Sometimes that comes as the skull face, the wreath, but it's in all in white because it's seen as something positive. And people leave offerings for death, almost as if trying to bribe death, like when you take me, make sure you take me in my sleep, something like that. And people have a very interesting relationship. One of the big things for a lot of people that worship Santa Muerte is actually having a good relationship with and having a peaceful relationship with death. Is like once you no longer fear what we're all going to face eventually, you make peace with it, and then it's something as a positive. I just think that
Yeah.
in Western culture we're so afraid to die that we personify it as a scary thing, and it's like, oh, holy shit. Well, in places where death is prominent, like every day, like for example, in El Salvador, there's death everywhere. They say that there was 10 serial killers loose in El Salvador and started killing 20 people a day, no one would notice. That's how much people die in El Salvador. So when you have a peace with what happens every day, you no longer fear it. I just think that we need to do the same thing in
But
this country. Just embrace it, embrace death. It's coming for
no,
you.
I completely agree.
It's gonna come for you in a Cadillac or in a pimp suit, and it'll be like, "Get on, bitch," and then you're just gonna get ask
No, no, I think one
ask
time,
for the floor back, guys.
speaking of that, but no, it must be one Byron. We're
Hello.
gonna have Snoop Dogg rolling up, have Death rolling up a Snoop Dogg in his Cadillac with
Yeah.
hydraulics.
No, you know what I'd want? I'd want
And,
Kramer.
and
Remember when Kramer on
he's gonna
Seinfeld was
run with the
wearing the
pimp.
pimp suit and he's walking down the street?
Oh
That's
God, yes.
Oh man,
that's who I'd yeah, man.
that
And
Kramer
yeah,
Grim
that would
Reaper,
be the best.
you're laying there in bed, and you're like, "Man, I have a cut banana something person. Hey Jerry, and you're like, oh, damn it, damn it, Doc. You look like a little sick there. You know, then she's like,
Yeah.
all right, guys, come on. This is a serious show. Again, jeez, why am I the mature one on
Oh my
So,
God.
Do you consider
so,
death a friend?
so me, yes, I
Yeah.
consider my relationship with death as a friendship. I wouldn't describe it as anything other than because it wants me to be prepared to be able to help prepare people. Like when one of those really weird ones was when my wife's grandmother was passing away. We didn't know
here?
she was going to pass away. We knew she was old. We knew she was going to die of natural causes, most likely. Okay, this is 2020, and so she did die of COVID. I'm going to throw that out there right now. That day, I saw something weird in my driveway, like just like a shadow, just a corner of my eye. Look over, okay, it's gone. Whatever. My mind's playing tricks on me. Everybody's mind does this to them. Then I'm walking around work, and it's early in the morning, and I'm like, oh,
The
what's
Ghetto
that?
Boys.
And I'm in the meat department, and there's a person standing there, like in a suit, and I'm like, there should be customers in here right now. It's freaking 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting ready to go grab my bread load, and I'm like, hey, sir. Then all of a sudden they're gone. Just like snap my fingers, gone. We go and check the cameras. I go back to security. I'm like, hey, there's somebody in the store. Can we check the cameras? They're right here, right now. They watch me go to wave at them and say, hey, sir, and all of a sudden they literally on camera disappear. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Okay, whatever. Maybe this place, because this building had been there since the 60s. Plenty of people have actually died here just from natural causes. Or maybe just wandering spirit that's lost. Then I'm sitting there at
A
night
lot of
with my
old
wife.
people.
There was an employee that died of an aneurysm like 3 years before I started there. That was
Oh
younger,
my
but
God.
still.
Jeez.
But so
You know,
I'm just like, whatever. I'm like, God, just chalk it up to something weird. Once again, I'm like, I see weird shit all the time. This is nothing new, whatever. This is kind of a documented situation where we saw a ghost in the store. That's kind of cool. Um, so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I look over at my countertop, and I see the whoosh of a cloak behind my countertop. And this is an open bar set up in where my kids sit to eat dinner, and it goes right behind where my dishwasher is. And I'm like, honey, I just saw something weird. I start telling her about all these weird things I've seen all day. She's like, oh, that's funny. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It feels like death's coming to tell me something. I don't know what the hell's going on. But it's being secretive about it. 45 minutes later, we get a phone call. Grandma's passed away. She jumped out and said,
jeez.
this little lady's 4'11". I want you to think this up and pretty much the day she died. This woman could run around the house and clean the house She was a very active woman, and she could run circles around most of us, even younger people. That's how she was. And she jumps out of bed. She's like telling her husband, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe." So he's going to call a doctor and get some help immediately. And by the time he gets back to her, she's gone. She's laying on the bed again, gone. Well, come to find out, her heart had stopped already previous to her actually standing up saying, "I can't breathe." She had already, her heart had stopped. She just had a
Ooh.
little bit of motor function until the oxygen stopped in her brain. But still,
Ooh.
I'm like, my wife's
That,
like, she looks at me, she's like, "You were predicting this shit." I'm like, "Oh."
man, can you
So, I
imagine?
mean,
Like, I'm so healthy. Like, man, I'm so happy how healthy I am, but I can die and then still do shit. You know like, how crazy it's
that's the
funny.
way this woman was, 4'11", and
Yeah, but yeah, my grandma
she's the
just
type of
passed
she
away not
driver.
too long ago, and she was 105, 106. When she passed away, and a lot of people, like, I tell people, like, yeah, my grandma passed away a couple of weeks ago. This was when it happened. This was like last year. So then people are like, oh man, how old is she? I was like, oh, she was like 106, 100. I don't know, 105, 106. She's old. She sat behind
Mhm.
Moses. She was like, he was dealt this. Are you guys okay? What happened?
We're great.
You guys are
Right.
so Moses, because stop trying to see. We're trying to learn you. Anyways, um, she didn't talk like that. She actually spoke only Spanish. Anyways, the thing is, she was really old, and I tell people, like, yeah, she was 100. She died, and they're like, oh, she was 105, and I go, yeah, and they're like, what did she die of? And then I was like, what? I'm like, yeah, we were celebrating her 106th birthday, and then somebody came in and stabbed her. Like, she was old. Jeez.
Old age. Your body
It
wears out.
happens though.
Yeah, yeah,
Why
she
do
was.
Yeah.
people need like? I hate it when they do that. Like, what? Like exactly like what you're saying. Is somebody is very old, and then, well, how did they die? Well, your parts give out.
Yeah, I can't,
You
I can't
know,
wait to. I hope I go see now. I think that'll be.
I know catching gnats in the corner. You know,
Yeah, like I do that
yeah.
now. Um, did you say that you saw like a cloak go by your face or something? Like, is that
So
what you?
there's some in my kitchen. I was sitting on the couch, which is clear across my living room, and my kitchen's right next to it. I have an open floor kind of concept in my house, and it went behind my countertop. And like it was walking through my house, like, hey, I'm gonna go collect your wife's grandmother here in a second, bye, type feel. And it's just like I'm just like, oh my heck. And so I look at my wife, I'm pretty sure death was trying to tell me something, and they were trying to be funny about it because I'm one of the few people that seem to understand death in that regard, and at least in the Western cultures. And so I would qualify death for Western culture. I would qualify death as a friend because yes, I suppressed a lot of things that it probably wants to tell me, but at the same time, when I'm somewhere, like when I go on like my own personal paranormal research hunts, you can tell something's following me. It is not our friendly Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's not something that wants to hurt me. It's just like something watching my back. Like I have a friend watching my back, and I normally go because I'll go do these things on my own, or I'll be walking past a place that
That's
has
your
a
sixth
history
time.
of yeah, like I got death having my six. Hey, we're gonna go in this grave. I'm going in this graveyard. Nobody else is there.
Graveyard
I go driving.
experiences.
Oh yeah, no. Then there's over by my house and where I live. There's a hot springs that has an old hot hotel that's been there since like 1800s or something like that. Supposedly a gold robber was murdered there. Things like that. All sorts of weird things have happened at this place. My kid was telling me about it. He went on a tour of this whole place, and so I'm trying to get permissions to go do a paranormal research hunt there to see what else we can find. But you walk past this place, you can just feel the eeriness of it. And that's the other thing that's been really heightened with me is when something is haunted or there is spiritual activity. Like I go to Shelley, I go to the haunted theater in Shelley. That place, yeah, it's a haunted attraction, but they also have some legitimacy to their claims of it being haunted. I walk around that place like what I'm doing with the people. If I'm at the back of the group, I feel some weird stuff. But if I'm at the front of the group, I don't feel anything because there's a lot of life behind me and happiness and joy. And there's that, oh, I want to be scared. And if I'm at the back of the group, I'm like, I'm going to see somebody on that stage. I guarantee it. Look over. Yep, there's somebody standing there now.
Yep,
I mean, this whole thing's been ruined now.
it's James Brown, damn it, the son of a bitch. He won't. Yeah.
But the reason I say this is because I've noticed there's a heightened reaction to when I enter a place that is haunted versus just normal people because I have been touched by death. Recently, I got the chance to go to the haunted museum in Vegas, and I bought the.
What?
I'm the guy that's like, I want the a full experience. Walking,
A
you
haunted
and your friend
museum.
Chloe there. Yeah, well, I want the full experience, so I paid for the VIP pass or the RIP pass, as they call it.
Is it a
So I
haunted
walk in the room
museum
with a bunch.
the Zach Baggins thing?
Yes.
Okay. I should go there. I want to go do that. Just
So
walk around. Hey, bro, come here,
me
bro.
and friend
I want to
Chloe.
chill, bro.
So I walk into his room of dolls. I don't do dolls, but I'm like, I'll do it, whatever. And like, there's like every once in a while the clown that's hanging from the ceiling because it's covered in sequins. Every once in a while, there's no breeze in this room. Every once in a while, he'll start swinging. Okay, what do you do? And they're like, and there's this one doll that's locked up in a case because they likes to wander the museum at night. Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna worry about that. That don't bother me. Okay, whatever. Walk in the room and a doll just like your little friend Chloe that's just hanging in your coat. It's in a white wedding dress.
No,
Hey,
no, dude,
looks right.
offending her. Uh, dude, yeah,
And all of a
people.
sudden, this doll just turns its head, stares straight
Nah,
at me.
it's fine.
I walk up to the guy that's hosting her. I'm like, is any of these dolls on like animatronics just to screw with people? Like, trying to maybe make sure there's maybe some. We're gonna make it seem haunted. He's like, no. Like the white dress and the white doll just looked at me. He's like, oh, that's interesting. She really doesn't move. He's like, and he looks at me. When we lock up this place at night, we lock. Everybody stands in the parking lot. Whoever gets stuck locking up, we literally close every door, whatever we have to do, and we run the hell out of here. It's like, this place is so good. I'm like, what?
That'd be
He's
me.
like, no, seriously. He's like, telling me, he's like, I don't normally tell tourists this, but that's what the deal is. He's like, I'm like, that little white, he's like, the doll in the white dress. I'm like, yeah, the one that's wearing the white dress. He's like, yeah, she don't move that often, but every once in a while she moves for certain people. I'm like, okay, whatever. And we're going through, I'm like, I don't do dolls, but I'm like, whatever. I'm going to suffer through this shit. So we're wandering through, and we get to go into Zach's personal seance room. He's got a spirit box going 24/7 recording audio the whole time with a little, and so they take out the card every night and replace with a fresh card so they can check for any like communications throughout the day. I walk in there, I'm like, everybody's behind me. I walk into this room like, yeah, we're gonna have some fun. I'm gonna feel some weird shit. We're gonna go on. Walk into this room, comes across the spirit box. So yeah, there's a spirit. They had warned us there's a spirit box. I walk in this room, and all of a sudden, male voice crossed about 7 channels, clear as day. Hello, like hi,
Hey, what's up, dog?
and then pretty much like just like that. It's like that was that feeling. And I'm like, and I was walking around this room, and I don't normally speak really easily when it comes to spirits. Something was. I'm like, I look behind me. I'm like, okay, is there anybody behind me? Like my sisters are supposed to be with me, and all this stuff. Nobody's with me. Everybody's still standing in the room before you enter this seance room, freaking the hell out. Like, oh my gosh, we did this, but it's so scary. And I'm like, hello, is anybody else coming? Did anybody else hear that? They're like, what did you hear? I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm walking around. Just walk around the circle. Don't step in and nothing like that. I'm like, I finally get so winded out. I step over the circle and damn near plow over my little sister, trying to get
Did
the
you,
hell out of this room.
did you get to meet Zach Baggins? Was
No, I
he?
didn't get me that.
No, he wasn't there. He's like, hey, bro, come here, bro. I'm gonna be affected. Bro,
I,
bro, come here, bro.
I'm
Come
pretty
here.
sure I
SOS.
pissed off
Come
more
on.
things in his museum than he does, and he yells at them. I just stepped in the museum.
Oh,
So
yeah.
later
Okay.
on,
If that walked past me, like when he said he felt the cloak thing out, then what out Death's cloak just hit me right in the face, and it's James Brown trying to give me a message. It'd be like, it's James Brown, Grim Reaper. What's going on? He told me. It was like, what? I don't know what James Brown is saying. Yeah, the dead body. It's James Brown, Grim Reaper. I don't know what
yeah.
he's saying.
So we were
We
wandering
lost.
around the museum. There's that one staircase under one of these walls that Zach was having boarded up because multiple of his guys have been attacked in the staircase, under the staircase or whatever this was. But they left a hole in the wall for some stupid reason. They had a little EMF reader or something like that. And they're like, normally it's at this is normal levels here. Every once in a while you'll see it go up. Okay. So everybody goes by it, and I'm gonna be the last guy. I want to see what it does. So I walk up, I look at the meter, the numbers are dropping. I'm like, look at hey, tour guy, come here. He's got the big old like steampunk top hat on and stuff like that. He's like, what? The numbers are dropping. He's like, what the hell? You scared the thing that scared other people. I've never seen the numbers dropped. I'm like,
He wants to talk to me with his top hat. What do you have to say? He said,
I just was like, I'm like showing this guy the weird shit that's been going on with me. I'm like, well, if we're gonna do this, I'm gonna get somebody's attention with this shit that happens with me. Well, we're standing outside Zach's favorite doll's room, Peggy. I'm standing right next to the door, and I can hear, "I know you're here," across the spirit box. And I'm like, "Oh, who the hell is she talking to?" "Hey, F face, I know you're here." Oh, I'm pretty sure she's talking to me then. And this guy's telling us, like, yeah, he's like, "You have to tell Peggy hello. You have to tell Peggy goodbye." And when you enter the room and leave the room, you have to make the connection and cut the connection. I'm like, okay, it's a doll. I don't do dolls, but whatever. And as soon as we walk in the room, she's talking smash shit up until we walk in the room. All of a sudden, dead silence. And I'm like, what? I'm like, hi, Peggy. Nothing. I say, bye, Peggy. Because I'm the last person out of the room again. I'm like, bye, Peggy, cutting my connection with her. And I hear they close the door and say, why did you bring that effer in here?
Oh,
And
jeez.
all of a sudden, you can hear this through the door, and she's like yelling at us in this woman's shrill voice. And I'm like,
Damn,
who the hell is
Peggy.
she talking about? And he's like, she must be talking about you. I'm like, because she was talking shit up until that point. Then you walked in the room, she stopped, and then she started talking shit until you left.
Can you imagine? It's like, shut the hell up. Just stand there. No one's talking
That's what
to
I
me.
do
Oh,
as a
jeez.
spirit, just talk shit.
That
I love the idea of this spirit talking shit because I would love to have a shit talking conversation with her. And so
whenever
we
I'm
go into
standing out
the
talking to somebody, that's what I say as soon as I walk in. Shit 3 times. Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
next room right next to it. This room's super heavy. So this is gonna be pretty interesting either way. So it's part of a spinal cord and the skull and head of a witch that was convicted in Scotland of being a witch. It was a man. His body's
Ooh.
been burned and all these things. And the only thing I can feel in this room, other than despair and pressure of it being like super, super heavy, like we're supposed to funeral procession style around him. I get by this thing, all I can hear is, "This is where I don't want to. I don't want to be here. Put me in the ground. This is not where I need to be. This is not right."
Ooh.
And I'm like, whoa! And I just get, that's all these emotions start rushing into me. And come to find out, the guy's actually Scottish, and I'm feeling all these weird emotions. Like he's angry. He's angry about where he is at because this is not what he had planned for his afterlife. His body's burned somewhere else. His head and spinal cord is on display in a museum of haunted objects, and he was convicted as a witch. I get where the guy's coming from, though.
He's like, hold on, man, I'm not a witch. You over there, Mr. Man, don't care what your name is. I don't want to know. I'm a man, the man is straight. So they thought that I was a girl, but I'm not. It's got killed, not a straight. I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
Um,
This
what
is
makes this interesting?
Great.
SOS? Are you okay?
yeah, great. That was the
Okay.
worst Scottish thing I've
Okay,
ever.
you know,
Yeah, I'm a little offended by this too, because the reason I say this,
how dare
what
you?
makes me clued in, well, the thing is with this guy, with being the Scottish guy, well, the crazy part is, I had just about a few months before got my DNA results. Come to find out I'm 35% Scottish, and I'm like, oh, wonder if it's one of my family members. That's the whole thing going through my mind. like,
Put me on your
but
spirit
given the
and take
fact
me
that
out.
I was so connected to this thing, it makes me wonder if it's a family member of some
Oh,
sort distantly down the road because I was really connected to this thing. I could feel a lot of emotions coming from this. A lot of anger, a lot of resentment, a lot of that. He wanted to be buried in the ground in Scotland, just chilling and just be in his homeland. You're an American now in a plexiglass box on display for people to see.
you should have done that thing where you know how some people get arrested for freeing the lobsters, like at the supermarket. You should have done the same thing, just like open the doors, open the case, and to this head, and just be like, I can't come to my house. Zip Dad
But
just
yeah,
standing for me.
Well, I think we need to wind this up, guys. We're hitting about an hour.
Oh, jeez.
And yes, can you believe it?
we need.
The time
I
is.
feel like we're going to end up with another episode we coming on in the near future, just for decon if nothing else.
Oh God.
What you're doing, I'm telling you, Chloe can go to heck.
Hey, how dare you?
Yeah.
Hey, no. Jeez.
Jeez.
Well, way to end it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
jeez. I had a haunted flintlock. Supposedly,
Oh yeah.
it is haunted. I collect haunted items, and then I wave them around, and I parade them on the show. I don't know. One of these days, James Brown's gonna come. He's like, "Today's the day, mother."
So it's gonna be Snoop
Um,
Dogg in that situation. But yeah, no, I. So one thing I did want to offer up to you guys is, I know you guys do a lot of paranormal research, and I'm actually close enough that if you guys wanted to, I can always come join you guys on one of those because I seem to when I go into these paranormal research situations, I seem to piss off more things and more things respond to just having my presence there because things that are still on this plane that should be crossed over are mad about something that's alive that's potentially dead but couldn't cross over.
Mm.
yeah, same way. When I go to the food court, all those old people, like they're just so upset that I'm. Are you okay? What happened? What am I doing? All right, guys, that's what such a happy episode. I just want to be host Deacon here on SOS Haywire and Mr. Byron. This damn, this was such a good show. I cannot believe it's already been an hour. But anyways, guys, like and subscribe. Do you have anything, dude? Are you okay? Do you have anything to add, Mr. Byron?
Well, I hope to be back in the near future. We can continue this conversation. So I got a lot of more things that have happened, but I'm
Yeah.
hoping to be able to catch up with either you guys or another paranormal research group I just out of Idaho Falls and possibly go do some ghost hunting because I want to see if my gift extends to the extent that I think it does. And I've experienced in the past on my own. I want other people to be able to help document this because I feel like there's a lot to document that can really help show people what's really going on.
Dude, let's do. I'll go. And then we can go to the food court. I can show you my gift. Like those old people. It's like a sea of gray. Anyways, all right, guys, like and subscribe, and so always look both ways, especially if you find yourselves on Nightmare Road.
Bye.